the show that brings you information, guidance, and support to entrepreneur-minded individuals like yourself. TTalks.net will give you something to talk about tomorrow. This isn't the Daily Show, but this is the show where you'll get everything. You'll get a fiesta of a mix with the old and the new. They will give you tips and insights into everyday business, big wins in everyday life. They have a lot to add, from bookkeeping to sales, sales management, and sales training, and daily content for listeners to learn and enjoy. We are here to improve your life and business or a sales career. Without any further ado, introducing the dynamic duo, Alex DeLuca and Rafael Rodriguez Jr.
Good evening, Raphael, man. How you doing? Where are you trying to be? Where do we need to be is the question, right? Where do I need to be tomorrow at 6 a.m.? In my bed or? So what
We are
exactly?
live.
So we are live, ladies and gentlemen, live. Hello, good evening. We made it March 24th, 2021. We have triumphantly crossed the line of the day before once again.
Something like that.
We go, man. We beat to our own tune, made things happen. Don't stop. We're too young for that, right, bro?
Well, I cannot speak for. I cannot speak for everybody.
Thanks to you, we have 100 years combined sales experience, management experience, training experience, bookkeeping experience, you name it. This guy used to jump out of planes.
54 jumps to be exact.
54.
Yes.
Jumping out of an airplane, is that anything like running a business?
Sometimes it feels like some people run their business as if they're jumping without parachutes.
Oof. What about taxes? You ever deal with tax season? Some people are trying to submit taxes without parachutes.
Well, I mean, I deal with a lot of clients, and I hear a lot of stories, and you know, um, we've been talking about March 15th deadline. Now we got a April 15th to May 17th deadline, and you know, I always say that some clients have more excuses than a virgin on her wedding night.
Ton of excuses, and we can write the book. I was luckily involved in business early, straight out of high school, and I wrote the book of 101 excuses not to get things done. I got that out of the way straight out of high school. I'm telling you, before, I took some college semesters and I was already running a business, and I had a mentor, and I wrote the book for 3 years, 101. I got my master's, yes. Yeah, and running a business, at the end of the day, you learn so many different things, and just going at it, and the trials and the failures, that's how you learn. And from direct TV now to home improvement and life insurance and cars in between, I'll tell you what, it's all the same. You need a system. You need a system, a few scripts, and you can make it happen.
And it goes right into the topic we wanted to go ahead and talk today, which is a CRM system.
And we're not talking about an Excel sheet, are we?
I hope not. And if they do have a spreadsheet system, at least it's better than just pieces of paper laying on the floor.
I'd agree.
And have you ever used a CRM system, Alex?
Oh man, I could probably train you on about 6 or 7, and I'm sure you had something to do with creating at least 2 of them.
Well, I have implemented several CRM systems, and
they're all, a lot of them, once again, we're made it to 2021. I'd say between the year 2016 to 2020, a lot was enhanced in the realm of CRM managements to be able to be active, mobile, and implement those. And throughout the ones that we've touched, the technology is amazing nowadays.
And yesterday we talked about how the consumer is kind of transitioning from they're transitioning uh they're transitioning
Light on my forehead here.
from external to internal, or more on online, and
Uh huh.
it's you, you got to change something, and definitely how to follow up with customer and have an automated system where you're always trying to touch that. And sometimes you might forget. And I've been in sales pretty much all my life, and I once in a while remember to call somebody, and they will tell me, "Oh yeah, I did go with somebody else," and they will tell me, and I did it 3 months ago.
You know,
And
it's in to be able to follow up, and we talked about it a few episodes back. Being able to follow up on your clients, right? Having that already in a system like a CRM would be fantastic. When I just brought up the whole telecom thing straight out of high school, it made me great and extremely effective and like sniper surgeon at what I was doing. You know what it was? It
the
was good old Outlook calendar reminders. That's all it was. It was as basic as I can get with a customer CRM. Everybody was in that contact list, and I would call and ask when Robert's available. He's the owner of the business. They said 4 o'clock. That reminder was set for 4 o'clock. If it was next week Tuesday at 2, it was set for next week Tuesday at 2. And it was called at that time, and that was the beginning of the CRMs for me, man.
Well, believe it or not, and I think you mentioned it, that many companies do use a spreadsheet for storing their customer data, and you got to ask your question why. And the reason why you say why is that, number one, imagine if that list gets to the wrong hand.
That wouldn't be good. Talk about employees too with your lists. You got to be careful.
I mean, do you think that your customer list, or your pipeline, where you're feeding your family, your kids, you're helping the company get their revenue? Imagine if that information gets to your competitors.
I wouldn't like that too much.
Imagine that they know how much the price that you gave them, and they just go right after you and just start wham, bam, 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 just undercutting you.
And we've been ethical throughout business, man, because we've done business with door knocking, South Florida, many different companies, and could always have the opportunity to do that. And you still find people try to get a hold of that list, or somebody works with the company and say, hey, can you throw me leads this way? But at the end of the day, that CRM, that management software for your clients is huge. It allows you to register your leads, and your contacts. It's your forever open call. It's not forever. You can call them for how long are they basically
18
opted in?
months once they opt in into your. Once you have a relationship with them, you got 18 months from that time to call them and not worry about the do not call list.
And I was working on the one that I'm using right now. Geez, I was using it today. Job Nimbus. Have you ever heard of it?
Which one?
Job Nimbus.
No.
See, just another one, right?
Yeah,
Millions.
thousands of them right now.
So I was uploading my contracts in there today, my measurements, prices, everything, my word, notes. They're pretty in depth. What was I going to say? The following up. You can do it on yourself, automatic email sent out every 3 months, and it's set up the 30, 90-day reminders for your call center to go ahead and make those calls. Prospects for you for how many months? 18 months?
18 months.
Oh, man, 18 months of prospecting, one number. Give somebody something to do. You either turn it into gold or you turn it into, pile of poo.
Well, the number one reason to have a CRM system, which could be your greatest asset within the organization, is it allows you to register your leads and contacts.
And we're right on the same page with that one.
I mean, what you kind of try to do is that you try to put some priorities in it, So all your hot ones you are being hot, all the miles you're being mild, and all the cold ones you're being cold. So instead of spending time on your cold, and you might be spending too much time with the cold, where you're letting your hot one just kind of melt away.
It just melts away, and that comes into putting a an ABC or a 1 2 3 or a red hot or your red no green go type thing, and gauging your clients. Not all the CRMs have the active tracker, but you obviously know your sales funnel. It's your bread and butter. You know what's selling today, you know what's selling in 3 months, and you know what's not selling at all. Obviously, you set priority to those. And once again, using the CRM for the follow-ups, adjusting those accordingly to what you have to do. One of the biggest things that we have as being sales reps, entrepreneurs or business owners is your time management. You have no idea, like, other than the planners we have, that the CRM could do wonders, from project management to your sales, lining up your sales reps for sales calls, your lead tracking management. It's, you know, way easier to do it this way. It's a lot of contractors are stuck in their ways, don't want to make that step. But hey, you got to move with the times.
Well, and it leads to the number two reason is that you can track all your customer interaction from everyone in your company. So let's say somebody, and this happens a lot in organizations where, oh no, you got to talk to Alex. He's the only one that knows everything about what's going on, and you might be on a sales call. This person might needed a simple answer. It was a simple question that if the information was available to everybody, oh yeah, no, I saw that you spoke to Alex. He's supposed to get back to you with this information. What I'm gonna do as soon as he gets off that meeting, I'll let him know that you call. Well, what it does, it actually starts giving credibility to the organization that the information is tight niche within the organization. So it makes it feel like everybody's kind of working together, and I think that's huge, especially in construction or anything that requires multiple people to get something done. When you have that cohesive that co-working environment, it makes that customer feel a little bit at ease. And it's my opinion, and I've seen it. Whereas, calling and saying no, and I hate it. I'm the first person, the transfer hot potato calls within the organization. They just hit transfer. They don't, they just spend 5 minutes explaining to the person what what they're calling about, and now that person has to explain it all over again to the next person.
And that happens, and I've seen it to where the companies will have the folder, have notes on it every time somebody calls. And if that note's not there, everybody looks at the folder. Oh, there's no notes on the folder. What happened? The customer calls in, and like you said, oh, Alex said X, Y, Z. But it being available to be on an app on your phone, or just going into the system on your phone with the internet, or whenever you can, every time you have a talk with the client, it's timestamps. It puts your name on it, who said it, when they said it, and you can even call out of the CRMs, and it'll say how long the call time was. You can set it up to do 100 different things.
Oh no, and because everything is kind of moving from the cloud, and you got to realize that I'm a little old school. Not everybody
old school.
Not everybody had an AS400 sitting in their office. A mom and pop having an AS400 wasn't necessarily something that was typical. So as we have gone into the cloud, it has allowed many individual and small companies to have the ability of what big companies have been using for all these years. And it has become so cost effective. I don't know. I implemented at JD Edwards 21 years ago. It was 21 years ago. It was almost $1 million
Jeez.
between the equipment, the training, the programming, the data conversion, the implementation. $1 million. As a matter of fact, we did it because of the 2YK. Um, some of you guys might have not been born when, or you were probably in kindergarten when this was happening. But everybody thought that the world was going to end in 2000 because the computer didn't realize that we went from 99 to 00. We went
Thought
back.
everything was gonna shut off.
Yeah, so we did a couple 2YK implementations, and it was more than a CRM. It was more of an ERP, an enterprise system. Um, but it's the same flavor. And before we get to the number three, what
Hmm.
I do want to caution and tell you, since there are so many out there. I mean, there's just I lost count, and there's a couple big ones that are kind of costly, but there's
So
quite a
many,
few.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
there are some free ones out there that are really good that you can have it on your on your website. Matter of fact, with digital domain, it allows you to have anywhere between 4 to 7 different CRM system at no cost to um, to their customer. Of course, the cost of programming it so it matches it. But just think about that: having a free CRM system that you can use, and if you want to go ahead and program it to your liking, you can actually do it at a very cost-effective rate. I mean, the platform is there for you, free. It's an open source.
It's
Um,
pretty neat.
it's pretty cool. I think that if people don't take advantage of it, especially if it's free and you know you need one, you should be using one. And if your provider is not giving you such ability, then you might want to possibly talk to some of the people over at a Digital Master company in regards to possibly hosting and having the ability to have one of those free CRM systems.
You
Um,
know, it's one way to jump into it. It might not be as interactive and do as many things as you want, but hey, it tracks it. It's important. Those leads are your gold. They might turn into diamonds, not right away. You never know. You got to keep track of them. Don't just you spend so much money on leads. Marketing costs is up to 10, 13% for some companies, or 5% depending on, what where you're in business, but
well,
it's just mind-boggling to me.
and it takes us right into the next one, which is basically it reveals the possibility of your customer base. You should be able to see your customer base and say, okay, I have around $100,000, or I got $1 million of proposals out there, and I know that around 25% of those proposals are really hot, and I'm really close to selling it. So around $250,000 that I can possibly drop within the next 30 days, 60 days. But what this does,
Be realistic.
huh?
I said, yeah, be realistic.
Well, but what it does, it allows you to start seeing the bigger picture from 10,000 miles up in the air, and you can literally see all your salespeople. Um, you might be able to see some of the conversion. You can see how long of a sales
Real quick,
cycle.
you come up with a lot of great, one-liners or sentences, but seeing it 10,000 miles up, that exactly is what that can create. That CRM you can step back, let your business run, manage it, make sure all the parts are running, and then you can look at it in 90 days after you've created this CRM, and it really gives you that bird's eye view of what's going on and where you can fine tune more, find those possibilities, the closing ratios, that $1 million you just said in business is on the table because it's there, it's out there in proposals. My backpack's full of them.
Well, and you'd be surprised how much you might have of potential business that you might have proposed. And I'm not saying that you're going to get every single proposal out there, but you start knowing that out of every 5 proposals, I'm going to get at least 1 or 2 whatever your closing percentage is. And some people you might know that they'll out of every five they'll close two, or they know that if it's a Angie's List compared to a home advisor, I have a better closing ratio. And if I have a better closing ratio,
Man,
does that mean that I spend more money on Angie's List instead of a home advisor?
why don't you just start making your own leads organic? You become your own Angie's List. At the end of the day, you're getting shopped no matter what, but cut out the shopping. Reach out to one of our sponsors, Digital Masters CEO. You'll get help, social media marketing, Google Ads, organic SEO. We talked about that. That was one of the good episodes that we had. We broke down all the SEO. What episode was that? I don't know. It was a few episodes ago, right, Ralph?
I think it's a few of them back.
What number are we on right
We're
now
on
before our
22.
official launch date? What?
We're on we're on the pre-episode 22.
This is BC before
BC.
Christ. before Jesus. This is it. This is your
Before
daily
official
dose
date.
of old school, new school. Get it daily, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Are we moving this earlier after tax season?
I kind of like this time, believe it or not, but we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it, especially if we dip into the interviewing. That we have a couple special guests that want to come on the show, from finances to traditional finance companies, public adjusters, insurance agents. We have them all. We'll be giving you live doses here and there, and we'll be having fun. We've been on topic today almost the whole show.
That's incredible, ain't it?
You know what? I was thinking there. I'm like, I got to just start blabbling for just doing it.
Don't talk about the market today, because I did take a hit.
Oh, come on. The market, dude. The market. The market goes up and it goes down 1% at the end of the day. It's like torture. You ever been to, what do they call it when you lay down and they hold your eye open and just put a drop of water every second and you can't blink? That's going to be the market for the next three over years.
That sounds like a very interesting torture. And you went through that already?
No, but I've seen it on movies, man. It looks bad, and I have had nightmares about it. All right.
Oh my God. Well, and then last but not least, and what I like to do is at the last few minutes, kind of talk about why it's so important to structure it, and follow your sales cycle, and kind of understand that whole concept, because then you can go ahead and mirror it into the CRM. But I think that last but not least, it makes your most valuable asset, the customer data, remain. Okay, so what does that mean?
Yeah, and this is huge, and this is why it's okay to train that person that doesn't necessarily make it. But go ahead.
Well, what happens is that you're absolutely right. You might bring in 4, 5, 6 different people in. You might give them a 1099. They're out there trying to hustle, and you're giving them leads. You're paying leads, or you're paying advertising. You're paying Google Ads. You have Digital Masters company put a couple campaigns together, and they gather names and phone number, and you give this to these people, that are going after it, and that person decides to leave. Well, if you have a CRM system, anything that transpired with that customer or that potential customer, hopefully, they did their job and you have it documented.
Hold on, just because I'm smiling. But oh man, how many times have been in a situation, and I don't know about you, but when I come into a business, I'm working for something. If something's not working or there's not a CRM, we implement change. And I've been like hated because of that. It's like, use the system. Please use the system. And that's huge for your most valuable asset, your customer database. Because if you train your people properly and make it mandatory that they use these CRMs, you always have that contact, that note, just as that sales rep would, because that's what they're using to put their notes in. So, 2 weeks or 2 months or a year down the line, when that customer comes back or whatever the situation is, or it was a sold job, that guy's gone, but you have the database of the customer information, the customer interactions, huge information.
Well, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of reemphasize the True Green and the lawn care business, Scotch Lawn Care, couple big home improvement companies that all they do is they hire a ton of people. They go out there, they knock on doors, they grab names, they grab phone numbers, they bring it all back, they put it into a database, and guess what happens once everything fades out? You put
What
your
happens,
A
Ralph?
gamers on the phone and start just popping one after another. Boom, boom, boom,
You
boom.
know, that's there's so many ways that you can, cut the cake, slice the cat, whatever you want to say, right? But why I lost my thought there. What was I going into? No idea there.
Well, the cycling of leads by using the newbies to kind of go. They're your grunts, and they're going
That's
out
right.
there in the field, sweating and just grabbing names and numbers, and you know, uh,
That brought me right into the rehash department, like having different ways to run the sales team. Like you have the new guys, you have what's going on. You have one chance, the new person to go in there, one call, one close it. If he's lucky, he gets a follow up. If not, you send that top dog in there, give him a discount, and let him eat. It's a rehash. It's a cycle. You get a lead, you close it now, because a percentage of you losing that lead after your first guy doesn't close it, and you got the home advisor people and you got the Angie's List people all coming to that door tomorrow to close that lead. You want to be in there tomorrow and have that rehash department. I'm a firm believer of one call, one closing. That's in my blood, and if I can't close it, send somebody in there tomorrow. There's instances where it can't be closed, and that's my lead, and nobody else gets it. But you know, somebody's going in there tomorrow to get your lead if you didn't sell it. That's my philosophy. Might as well be my rehash department.
and let me tell you, it works. Many of the very successful companies, that's what they do, and because the system is pretty basic. Again, you get these people. They're your grunt. They're grabbing. Either you do a home show and start giving out some free stuff so you can start getting names and numbers.
It's all farming, fishing, whatever you want to call it.
On a corner with a sign, $1,000 for the winner, X
How
marks
many?
for the winners.
Don't we know a company with people hold signs on the side of the streets brings about a
We
half
know
a
a
million,
couple of them out there.
half a million a month in revenue from the ingenuity of simple, quick thinking and the mastermind sales process. You're there to sell a demonstration, nothing else. You're there to sell yourself, your company, your product, and nothing else. That's it. Put on a smile and make it happen.
All right, so I did want to kind of spend the last few minutes talking about the CRM and why it's so important to kind of lay down your sales process, and this is where you need to kind of understand your sales process so you can look at some of the CRM and see how well they fit within your sales process, and not everything is going to be perfect, but if it's really close to your sales process, then you might want to go ahead and you're going to consider some more than others. I think that some of the key elements that you should look at is the, kind of aging your your leads, that you're able to turn leads to opportunities. Um, those are kind of a couple of them that you're able to grade. And we talked about avatar, be able to tag certain avatars to within the CRM system.
That's
So
something new you see more CRMs definitely implementing that you can, I'd like to see the grading use one with a grading system that automatically funnels your top priorities. That's, like I said, you could always start with the free CRMs and work your way up. And, there's so much information out there, studies, so many reviews you can look up on your own or reach out to Digital Masters Company. They'll answer any of your questions.
yeah, absolutely. And I was gonna go ahead and kind of right now I'm looking at CRM features, CRM software, compare the top CRM software of 2021, and we're looking at around 735 of them.
That's
that
worse
is
than
out there.
the side-by-side comparisons I was doing with cameras at Best Buy website the other day.
Well, we definitely want to. Of course, some of them are more expensive than others, and like I said, between 5 to 7 that are free available through hosting with Digital Master Company that you can use. Some
So you're saying all they have to do is have their website hosted and they have access to this?
they have access to it. Yes.
Very cool.
Um,
We'll put that somewhere here or there.
And as always, if you have any comments, if you got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We love questions. We love to hear from you guys. If you don't like my haircut, you're welcome to leave a note down in the comments below. We're doing this for you guys, and hopefully you guys like it. And with that said,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you for tuning in to ttalks.net. If you have any questions, comments, or something you want us to talk about, email us at raphael@ttalks.net or comment below. Please follow us on YouTube at ttalksnet and Facebook at ttalksnet. Please rate us and don't forget that sharing is caring. Thank you for your support. Till next time, we will T-Talk later.
ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for tuning into T Talks. My name's Alex DeLuca. I'm signing out from Naples. Everybody have a good night.
And this is Raphael from Hollywood, Florida, saying good night.